is the most famous song in America, performed at every major stadium and civic gathering in the nation. We know the words, and we certainly know the high notes. But for nearly 120 years after it was written, this famous melody wasn't our national anthem at all. The poem was written by Francis Scott Key, a man who was not a professional songwriter, but a high society lawyer who actually opposed the very war he was witnessing, set to the tune of a British social club song. His words weren't officially adopted by Congress as our anthem until 1931. Today we are looking past the performance to find the history of the Star-Spangled Banner. We'll explore the life of the man behind the pen, the high-stakes prisoner exchange that put him in the harbor that night, and the full text of the poem that captured a moment of American survival. Let's look at the history. Welcome to the Blind Spot. I'm Lydia. Before we dive into the smoke of 1814, I want to invite you to join our growing community over on Patreon. I'll be releasing some exclusive bonus content for Patreon members, giving a little behind-the-scenes look at some of the letters Francis Scott Key wrote during this period. Plus, our monthly book club is currently exploring a fascinating book about how the unthinkable can become reality. Join Tier 3 or 4 for book club access and to see the title of our current book club selection. Your support on Patreon is what keeps the Blind Spot independent and helps me continue bringing these histories to light while navigating my own physical challenges. You can find the link in the description below or at patreon.com/theblindspottpodcast. Now let's head to Baltimore. To understand the Star-Spangled Banner, we have to understand Francis Scott Key. Born into a wealthy family in Maryland, he was a deeply religious and intellectually rigorous attorney. By 1814, he was a well-established figure in Washington, D.C. Having served as an advisor to presidents and eventually becoming the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Interestingly, Key was a member of the Federalist Party, which largely opposed the War of 1812. He initially viewed the conflict as a needless war that threatened the young nation's stability and trade. Yet, his sense of duty led him to serve briefly in a volunteer light artillery unit during the defense of Washington. To set the stage, the summer of 1814 was the darkest hour of the war. Napoleon had been defeated in Europe, allowing the British to turn their full military might toward North America. They had already burned the White House and the Capitol, a move intended to shatter American morale. Their next target was Baltimore, which they considered the nest of pirates because of the privateers operating out of the harbor. In early September, Key was asked to assist in a sensitive diplomatic mission. A beloved physician, Dr. William Beans, had been taken prisoner by the British after he had helped arrest some rowdy British stragglers. Key, along with American prisoner exchange agent John Stuart Skinner, set sail from Baltimore under a flag of truce to meet the British fleet. While Key successfully negotiated Bean's release by presenting letters from wounded British officers praising the doctor's care, the British commander, Vice Admiral Alexander Cochrane, refused to let them leave. The British were about to launch a massive coordinated assault on Baltimore. and Key had seen the size of the fleet and preparations for the attack. He was forced to watch the 25-hour bombardment of Fort McHenry from a truce ship anchored roughly 8 miles away. The defense of the harbor fell to Fort McHenry. Major George Armistead, the fort's commander, knew the British would focus their fire on his position. A year prior, he had commissioned Mary Pickersgill to sew a flag so large that the British will have no difficulty in seeing it from a distance. That flag, the Great Garrison Flag, measured 30 by 42 feet. Each star was 2 feet across. As the sun set on September 13th, the British bomb ships, vessels destined specifically to carry heavy mortars, began raining down shells that weighed 200 pounds each. Key sat on the deck of his ship, helpless, as the first lines began to form in his mind. Oh, say can you see, by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, or the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that Star-Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Historically, this verse is a literal eyewitness account of a technical nightmare. The rocket's red glare came from Congreve rockets, which were notoriously inaccurate but psychologically terrifying. Because Key was miles away, the flashes of these explosions were his only source of information. If the explosions continued, it meant the fort was still resisting. He spent the night in total uncertainty, ending this verse not with a boast, but with a question. On the shore dimly seen through the mist of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes, what is that which the breeze or the towering steep, as it fitfully glows, half conceals, half discloses? Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected, now shines in the stream. 'Tis the Star-Spangled Banner, oh long may it wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. At 7:30 a.m. on September 14th, the bombardment suddenly stopped. The silence was more terrifying than the noise. He looked through his telescope. Throughout the night, a smaller storm flag had flown over the fort. But as the rain ceased and the sun began to rise, the morning's first beam, the soldiers at Fort McHenry lowered the storm flag and hoisted the massive Garrison Flag. The haughty host refers to the British fleet, which realized they could not bypass the fort and began to withdraw. And where is that band who so vauntingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country, should leave us no more? Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps' pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gleam of the grave. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. This verse reflects the raw anger of a man whose home city had been threatened. He is mocking the British arrogance, the band who so vauntingly swore to destroy the American project. The reference to hireling and slave is a historical nod to the British use of mercenaries and the colonial marines, who were escaped slaves who fought for the British in exchange for freedom. From Key's perspective as a Marylander, this was an existential threat to the social order. It highlights a common theme in Key's era, the belief in the superiority of the free man, defending his own soil over the professional soldiers of an empire. Oh, thus be it ever, when freemen shall stand between their loved home and the war's desolation, blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that had made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must, when our cause it is just, and this be our motto: in God is our trust. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. This final verse reveals Key's core convictions. As a man who once considered entering the ministry before choosing law, Key did not view the survival of the fort as mere luck. He believed the nation was heaven rescued and that its preservation was tied to its moral foundation. This is the factual origin of the phrase, "in God is our trust." Key moved from the military defense of the land to the spiritual gratitude he felt was owed for its survival. He wrote the poem on the back of a letter he had in his pocket, and within days it was printed as a broadside and distributed throughout Baltimore. The blind spot we often have regarding our anthem is forgetting that it was written in a moment of extreme vulnerability. It wasn't written by a songwriter in a studio, but by an attorney on a boat watching his country's future hang in the balance. The Star-Spangled Banner reminds us that national identity is often forged in the desolation of conflict, and that the symbols we rally around represent the endurance of those who stood their ground when the smoke was thickest. Thank you for joining me for this look at our national anthem. Remember, the history we remember shapes the future we build. I look forward to seeing you in my next video on our two-party system. And don't forget to join Patreon to check out the bonus video, companion video for this one. Please support this video by engaging, like, share, follow, like, comment, all those things. And to offer more direct support, you can go to patreon.com/theblindspotpodcast. Check out the options and choose your level of focus. Thank you again for joining me. Have a great day and keep searching to find your focus.